Move to this story. Reports of court appearances related to the murders of AKA and Tebello Motsoane appear to have been exaggerated. 4 men recently taken into custody by police have not been linked to the murders. One of those men actually appeared in court today, but on charges of robbery with aggravating circumstances. Another 3 are reportedly in hiding following their late-night release. A lawyer for the 3 has slammed the police's handling of the case, police revealing little around their investigation of the double murder of the rapper and his friend. eNCA's Dasen Thathiah was in court today. He joins me now from Durban. So, Dasen, you were in court today. One person of the 4 that were arrested in court. Is there any link at all to the AKA case?
I think to answer that question properly, Sal, I'll have to give some context. So Siphamandla Ngcobo is the person that was in court today. He's one of the 4 that was arrested in Cape Town on Sunday. So you'd recall that was widely publicized. There were videos that were doing the rounds on social media. There were also some newspaper reports about that arrest. And at the time, it was reported that they are linked to the AKA murder investigation. Today in court, we heard that is in fact not the case. Both the defense and the state prosecutor saying that this was purely a case of robbery with aggravating circumstances, and it relates to a hijacking in January of this year where a white Mercedes-Benz was taken. But what was also interesting was that we found out that Ngcobo in this matter was also out on parole. So he's facing other robbery and murder charges in fact, and should have finished his sentence in 2026 but was granted parole in 2019. So that's the matter that we were in court for. But the mention of, as the state and the defense put it today, the assassination of a high-profile individual, obviously they were talking about AKA, did come through several times because of the issue of those reports that have been circulating. So the defense in this case, I mean, Ngcobo was represented by Annalene van den Heever, an advocate, and she was saying that she felt her client's life was in danger because he had been associated with that AKA murder investigation. Not just his, as you also rightfully mentioned, the other 3 men that were taken in as well. And they were eventually released. And now the one person that remains, and again, no link established yet to the AKA murder investigation, he remains in custody until his bail application next week. But I want to just play a portion of an interview that I did with his lawyer, and I think it explains why some of this confusion arose.
There's a link between the Mercedes-Benz that features in this particular case and the assassination. Whether it is indeed so, I don't know. Time will tell, and I hope we will get that link clear during the bail application. However, for now, I think we should make it very clear for everybody out there that none of the people arrested are positively linked at this point in time with this assassination.
And as you've already explained, the man who appeared in court today, it was on charges completely unrelated to that double murder. But this car, this white Mercedes-Benz, could that potentially be a link? What more can you tell us about that as a potential link between what happened in court today and possibly the murder of AKA?
Well, Sal, the court proceedings aside, I'll also tell you that we've been trying to make sense of all of this and try to understand how these links arose in the first place. And I can tell you that it would seem from some of the sources that we've spoken to that the similarities or the common factors here are the investigators that were involved in these matters. So in this particular case, those that are in that so-called AKA task team, if I could call it that, are also part of the SAPS's provincial task team, and they generally deal with big matters such as this one. And they were part of the team that was responsible for that arrest of these individuals in Cape Town. But the issue of the white Mercedes-Benz and that link relates to in fact, it was a shooting that took place in Durban last month. And it was after that police officers here in Durban then traced that vehicle. But when they got to that vehicle, the suspects had already fled. But there were certain items in the vehicle. It looked like there were preparations being made to set it alight. But based on whatever they found in that vehicle and the clues that they found there, they were then able to trace the occupants or the alleged occupants of that vehicle, and that ultimately led to those arrests that we saw in Cape Town at the weekend. And then on the other side of that, you'll know that it's also been reported that there was a white Mercedes-Benz in the AKA matter, and it was seen to be possibly one of the getaway vehicles. And I think that is where this link began. But it is still very much the early stages of this investigation. We spoke to the Provincial Commissioner yesterday as well, and he said that at this point, police are trying to be as thorough as possible. So they're following lots of evidence, lots of leads. And during the course of this investigation, there will be other collateral damage, if I had to just put it that way, where there will be other arrests. And what it really means, Sal, is that not every arrest is going to necessarily be the person who pulled the trigger in that AKA and Tibbs murder.
Yeah, and also the police being very cautious with a high-profile case like this. We've seen in the past quick arrests, but the paperwork and the legwork wasn't done properly, and actually there was no real link at the end of the day. Thank you so much for that update, Dasen Thathiah there.